Hello! This is the third diary where I try to organize ideas and keep track of the development of Kamen Rider 01's. I strongly recommend watching the first two diaries before this one to have a fresh perspective on the progress made so far. I suppose the first thing I should mention is the obvious. I made some changes to the color palette, as I mentioned in the previous diary, with the intention of improving the alternative colors. The most notable change is that I added an extra color for the eyes, which looks clearer against the face while drawing. I also changed the blue of the antennas and the gray of the details. To be honest, the blue is barely noticeable, but I admit that the gray looks a bit worse. But it was a necessary change so that the alternative skins don't look weird. In fact, this change allowed me to have a good amount of skins. But I prefer to talk about that later. The drawing of the skins is not over yet. I should also mention that I started using Miku Miku Dance to plan and visualize 3D animations. I heard the idea casually from another creator on the Steam Workshop. And honestly, it works. It really helped me with the jab. It's much easier to try to recreate the movements from the series in 3D and then fix the camera to draw the movements in the sprite. Remembering that the alternative is to try to imagine how the movement would look from the profile and struggle with the camera movements. If someone asks why Miku Miku Dance? Well, it's simply because my PC can't handle anything else. And to be honest, it's enough for this use case. In fact, I set out to find a model of 01 himself to have a more appropriate reference. But I only found a model of 01 online, and well, for now, I'll keep using this model for references. Another thing I'd like to try is having a set of figures. Something similar to what I do with the heads. That would allow me to position the body parts more or less where I want and then correct and shade them with more ease. To be honest, I've only seen it online and haven't tried it yet. But from the perspective of having to do dozens of animations for the same character, it sounds pretty good. Although I'll try it after I've made significant progress. In fact, these are the animations I have so far. In summary, I only lack the animations for the attacks. Of course, if I don't count the ones I'd like to redo in the future. Efficiently, I'm still leaving the arrangements for later. I suppose I still have to make those revisions before making more new animations. Although I'd like to start setting up a more or less planned moveset. Of course, it's still a collection of ideas that can change. But for now, it will serve to plan what to do with the next animations. The jab is already designed and programmed. To do it, I based it on one of the sequences from his fight against Zonjis. For the dash attack, I'm thinking of doing a sword movement. Maybe it's an original movement, but it wouldn't break the canon. Mainly, the idea is that his running animation is based on his way of running during the first part of the fight against another Ikigo. Precisely as preparation for doing a sword movement. For the front tilt, I'd like to take advantage of his front kick. Remembering that it's one of his usual ways to open up to a finisher. I'm not going to waste a combo that the series itself gives me. For the down tilt, I have a couple of options, but frankly, the best is to try to give him a low kick. The doubt is more about what animation would be appropriate or where to take it from. For now, I'm tempted to use the low kick from Memories of Heroes. I mean, we have to take advantage of 01's only formal appearance in video games. For the up tilt, I'd like a kick that propels him upwards and allows him to carry the enemy into the air for combos. It's simply another of his classic ways to open up to a possible finisher. Even if his specific way of executing it may vary. For the neutral aerial and front aerial, his spinning kick fits quite well. One of those subtle but recurring movements that he repeats numerous times. It's supposed that a front aerial should do damage in the front area, and a neutral aerial should cover most directions. I suppose where I put it will depend on whether I come up with another option for either of the two. For the up air and back air, I don't have things too clear. In the worst case I'll recycle it from Kuga. But I should be able to come up with a better movement for the digital grasshopper. For the down air, I'd like something like a Link, based mainly on his battle against another Akiko. For his strong attacks, I think I already have it clear that I'll use his sword movements, even if I have to use some movement that we know by this guy. And for the specials, I'll use his change forms, reiterating that I have more or less clear what to do with each one. But I'll need a specific mechanism to access everything. And if I have more or less an idea of what to do, that will be a programming drama for later. But for now, I think I've said everything I wanted to this time. I'm glad to be able to start thinking deeply about the moveset, and I'm eager to try to speed up my workflow. It's worth watching the first diary to have the complete perspective. But in any case, good evening to everyone.